Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
Hola.
Hello, this call is being translated.
Abuela, listen to what my phone can do.
Abuela, escucha lo que mi teléfono puede hacer.
Wow. Ahora dime sobre tu novia nueva.
Wow, now tell me about this new girlfriend.
Huh?
Tú sabes lo que dije.
You know what I said.
Language is no longer a barrier thanks to Live Translate with Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Learn more at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. Calls must be made using the native Samsung dialer.
Life is full of awesome what-ifs, and some not so much, like unexpected medical costs. That's why United Healthcare provides Health Protector Guard fixed indemnity insurance plans to supplement your primary plan and help manage out-of-pocket costs. Learn more at uh1.com.
Welcome to another edition of Rams Up Roundtable. I'm your host, Tom, at RamsBeat on X, here with Ian and Paul. What's good, Ian?
Doing good, gents. I mean, it's so close, isn't it? But so far away. But we'll get there soon, man. Football season is upon us.
Yeah, Paul. What are your thoughts these days? How's things out on the island?
I locked it down here on the Beast Coast. Can't wait for some Ram football. Can't wait to see them lock horns.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to fly through a few topics here today, starting with Kyren Williams and Jonah Jackson not practicing due to quote-unquote lingering injuries. Ian, what's the update?
Gosh dang it. There's always you can never just have a clean off season. It's always some crap. And look, Coach McVay was, like always, very positive. Hey, Jonah Jackson will be back. He's just dealing with some lingering things from a long season with Detroit. Okay. You know, with Jonah, our newly signed mega guard, right, to be a part of this 1,000-pound plus O-line, right, or interior O-line. He was out there practicing. I've seen clips of him hiking the ball, being like a third center, backup center, doing stuff, moving around. So I'm not too worried about him. Now with Kyren, gosh dang it. Reading between the lines with Sean McVay's comments today after the second day of OTAs, it seems like he was just being a mega workout warrior and probably nicked himself up in some way, some fashion, working out on his own, right? Trying to be in shape and be ready for the season. And they're just going to hold him out until training camp. But we've heard this before. Gurley, everything's fine. Matthew Stafford's elbow the year after won the Super Bowl, everything's fine. Terrell Lewis's knee, the outside linebacker we drafted from Bama, everything's fine. This is part of the plan. So this organization does as much damage control as possible. And I respect that as, a multi-billion-dollar business where your assets are the players, right? And their success on the field. So Kyren's had how many injuries in 2 seasons? Broken hand, broken ankle, surgery on a sprained ankle. Now it's another lower foot issue. Golly, Blake Corum draft pick looks better and better every single day, doesn't it, huh?
Yeah. Paul, what are your thoughts? Is this just resting guys? Should we take it seriously? Are more to come? What do you think?
Well, McVay's track record, like Ian, like we were all talking, that the Terrell Lewis scenario popped up right away into my head. I was like, holy cow. So, running back has a foot injury, not a good sign. But, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hope it's, like McVay said, it's nothing serious. Joey Jackson, they did chalk it up to something residual from last year, and they're going to watch his workload in the offseason, which is not uncommon. But it will get an opportunity for Blake the Great to get up to speed really quickly. He's going to get the chance to, get get the full exposure at OTA, so that's a good thing for the Rams. DeMarco Farr commented also on the Rams running back situation. He said, do all the Rams running backs look like bowling balls back there, right? Because the diminutive size and everything. So I think that's interesting. They had a nice take on the OTAs. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch that sort of unfold. The small running backs behind that giant Blue Thunder offensive line. So let's see how it plays itself out.
Yeah, I like it. What did you say? Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder.
I like that.
If the Rams, and their defense is blue steel.
I dig it.
It's just Zoolander reference right there.
I knew you would come up with something for our groups, man, but that's a good one. I wasn't expecting that today. Nice.
Nice. Next topic, training camp has been announced at Loyola Marymount.
Yeah.
So not so far away from SoFi, right by LAX. And so yeah, we had kind of heard that, mentioned it on some podcasts, several podcasts back. But apparently now it's confirmed. And so, it's a great facility. I been there many, many times. Played on the pitch where they are going to be practicing. I played rugby in college, and we played Loyola, a couple times a year, and was down there quite a bit. So good facility, great environment, and I think the team will enjoy it. I mean, obviously, we're looking forward to getting up to a more permanent facility, up in the valley once that's ready. But hey, let's face it. Like you say, and let's keep it real. There was zero chance that thing was going to be ready, right? It's still a dirt lot, right?
I mean, what was the original plan for SoFi Stadium? I think 20. So they moved. They Kroenke bought the land 2015, 16ish, and they were like, what was it? The 2019 season or something, or the 2018 season? It was somewhere like, in 2 years we'll get this thing done, and it took another four and some change, right? Double the amount of time they were hoping for. So no problem. For everyone out there who made the drive to Orange County, UC Irvine, respect to you, especially anyone who lived in the Valley making the trip to Orange County, or deep in LA making the trip. This hopefully be a lot better for everyone out there, right? If you go to SoFi, just go another 5 and some change miles down the 105 by LAX, and you're there. So I think it's better for the LA community to make that trip. I expect it to probably be more packed because of that, which is, that's cool. But enjoy this before they make the move to, Thousand Oaks, Woodland Hills area, where that's a nice little drive if you live on the outskirts of LA or deep in LA. Traffic, travel time. So let's enjoy it while it's here, in LA County, the heartland, right? And regardless, take your time, Kroenke. Take your time, Rams organization, Kevin. Build a nice spot for us at Woodland Hills for the players, for the fans when we come visit. I'm in no rush to make that drive out there for training camp, truthfully. So the more time here, it's here out in Loyola land by SoFi Stadium. That's no problem with me.
Yeah, good stuff. So we also wanted to talk about Behind the Grind, episode 1. And a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Paul, what were your initial thoughts after watching that? What is about a 30-minute episode?
Well, right off the bat, that one scene I told you about, when they introduced Jonah Jackson and Kyron Williams looked over at the running back coach and they smiled when they had the video up running of Jonah Jackson.
Oh yeah,
I was like, quarterback. Kyron Williams was like, all right, there we go. That's what I need. I want to get to the outside a little bit more. So that was awesome. I really like that part about it. I thought it was a great episode, just giving insights into the, I guess for the outsider, but also for Ram fans, like the Ram culture. It really did do a nice job of encapsulating some of the key things that everybody's been talking about, and to see it on the screen, I thought it was really neat. So I enjoyed it. And the different players and the various clips. I also watched a couple of the older clips, just watching them together just had better flow for me. But Puka with the car, I thought that was awesome. It was for his mom. I just thought I was like, that's why Puka is what Puka is. Puka Nails is the man. So
Puka with the car was great.
That was awesome. Yeah. He connected to his dad, but also the emotional outpouring by Aaron Donald. I just talk about love of the game, right? And I really do think I was commenting to Tom that the article today that they're leaving Donald's locker open in case he ever wants to come back. I'm telling you, I think 99 Problems is going to show up. I think they're going to find a way.
Well, if they're in true playoff contention, I mean,
I think he's going to show up.
Yeah, he's going to pull Eric Weddle and come off the proverbial beach in Pittsburgh and oh man, can you imagine? Wow. Anyway,
that would make my football soul happy, Jones.
Oh my God, what a storybook that would be! But what's really awesome is like the DeMarco Farr show with Long and now with this media. Shout out! It's finally time that we have some really good Rams media out there for the fans and for just not for Ram fans, but just fans in general to really see the organization from a different lens. Yeah. So I think, in my opinion, I think they've done a really nice job. Everything from the draft house forward. I really like that the beachfront scenario they created for the draft. I thought that was awesome. It looked like $1 million. I was watching it with my daughter. Even my daughter commented how cool it looked. So Rams are doing some really good things, and it's a much different impression, I think, than in the past of the organization. And well done. Kudos to them.
Good. I mean, they need to, gentlemen. I mean, shoot, Rams are competing with Chargers, right? Competing with USC football, UCLA, football, basketball. Obviously, every other pro sport in LA. Dodgers are number one. Lakers, were number one for a long time, but they're like 1B, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So they got to just keep bringing it. And I think it's been a good of a job as you possibly could have done. Bailing from a city unexpectedly. Shout out to all you St. Louis folks tuning in. I feel for how that ended. And coming back here abruptly and just trying to win over a new generation. I think they've done the best they could have, right? I mean, hey.
Yeah, but that's SoFi, just unbelievable facility. It's not even done. I mean, I don't know when the last time you were there, Ian, but is the shopping, I don't think is all done. The housing.
Oh, it's
all that stuff. I mean, there's still so much more to do. When that shopping and entertainment gets in place, and it'll be more like Downtown Live and stuff like that around the
it'll have that Staples Center feel. There's a bunch of just things to do before the game.
We still call it Staples instead of Crypto.
I'm calling it freaking Staples, man.
I called it the Staples Centers too.
Yeah, it's just too legendary of an arena. Too much greatness has happened there.
Yeah, it's too much.
All right, sue me, Crypto. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So good stuff. And so that Behind the Grind was great. I look forward to next time we can talk about. I believe by then this week the next one will be out that that goes into the draft, right? That'll be great. They're in the draft.
But what was really great too was watching. Well, not great in like from a Rams perspective, but more from internally speaking, to see the thing with Higbee. To see that there was that comment about how many degrees he was able to flex his knee when he was doing it at the trainer. So things like that. But watching that, like, it really got my stomach churning, man. Like, because they showed the hit in the clip.
Yeah,
he got rocked.
And you know what? I hate to keep saying it, man. I really hope the Rams have circled that game, man, because every time I watch that hit, I'm like, not only, there was an angle that I didn't see the first time. If you guys watch that episode again, if you watch the clip from the side, there is a subtle 5 given by the Detroit linebacker to the D-back. What was his name? Joseph.
Yeah,
a subtle hot. They gave each other a little dap after the hit, which just I didn't notice it the first time. But if you watch the clip,
they give it dap, and then when Stafford,
right after he flexes,
exactly after he flexed to Stafford and said, and that whole thing was anyway. It is.
And in a profession like this, you have players like this guy who's blowing up knees, and and in a profession like this where it really is a sport of attrition, and you got guys like this who don't have enough sense that not to hurt other players. Like, listen, crack him in his chest, do whatever you got to do. But to cut somebody at the knee like that, I mean, and NFLPA too has got to like. These are the type of things that really like. Those are the things that behind closed doors you got to like. Especially with a guy with like a track record like this guy. Look, staff went right up to him and said, "Listen, you know you're dirty as blank, right?" We also have video clip.
Oh yeah.
So the quarterback's calling him out on national TV like that, and dude, I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous. And there are a lot of guys like that. Like when Bounty Gate happened, like the players know better. They should have known better. If the players can't police themselves, then the sport's going to continue to deteriorate. But
yeah,
I didn't notice that the first time I had seen that clip, but that's one thing that really stood out for me.
Yeah. Moving on here. So Aubrey Pleasant being made an assistant head coach. Why is that a big deal to everybody? Obviously we're happy for Aubrey. Everybody loves Aubrey Pleasant. But so he can make a little bit more money. But obviously we don't want his attention to be pulled away, and helping McVay on head coaching duties to be pulled away from his own. And so, what's the significance of that in your opinion, Ian?
I just think it's just more. I mean, obviously the pay, right? That's nice. Shout out to the Pleasant family for that extra cash flow for them. But I just think for someone to feel like they are, what's what I want to say? I don't want to say matter because everyone matters, but like highly appreciated, if that makes sense. Because Aubrey did interview for the DC position and did not get it. Players have spoken so highly of him. Obviously, Sean McVay feels that it's time for him to take on more responsibility. And, if Coach McVay thinks that you're ready for another leap, he does, promote his guys within, maybe not necessarily to the coordinator spot if you feel like it's not ready, but he does enough with higher pay, promoting you to assistant head coach or to higher roles of more difficulty and responsibility. And I think for him to miss out on the DC job, but get this title, I think it should mean a lot to him. And I think it's important now. It's like, hey, if I am unavailable for whatever reason, Coach McVay, you can hit up this man, Aubrey Pleasant, for anything else. And I think that's a big deal because, like I said, players love him. Other coaches love him. And you need somebody, second in command that everyone feels good about reaching out to football-wise, personal-wise. And I think that's why it is a big deal for Aubrey Pleasant to get this title, along with all the other coaching duties that he's responsible for. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, Paul, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's goes with the theme so far that we've seen of Coach McVay, like diversifying the staff and allocating more responsibility. We also saw that with Thomas. I think it was Thomas Brown. I think they did that as well when
multiple times too, Paul.
Yeah, when they were asking about the OC position. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well for Brown because he didn't get the gig with the Rams, but he got it with someone else down the road. But I think it's a perfect fit. Tell you honestly, everything you read about the reaction to Pleasant and everywhere he's been has been nothing but positive, and he's definitely a football mind. There's no question about that. And I agree with Ian. The one thing, the common thread is that the way he relates to players. That's it's very Raheem Morris-esque in the way people describe the way he relates to players, and I think that's an important part of it. And you can see in a lot of the moves of the coaching staff, not only just freeing up time for McVay, but allocating certain responsibilities so that McVay can really sort of get this offense back to where it needs to be. I think that's a big component for the Rams season this year. More so than anything else, is get this offense back to, you had referenced St. Louis, greatest show on turf scenario, right? Bring back the bob and weave. I always say that. Bring back the bob and weaves. Put that electricity. Remind these players. Let them just watch that season. Everything else will fall into place. But the offense has to get back to that. So they spent a lot of money on the O-line. They got a great running back room. The wide receiver room is rock solid. You got to get this offense back to being dominant, right? I love watching that episode and they had some of those game clips, and you saw the coaching staff just talking about tempo. And that's exactly right. The Rams' tempo, from when they won the Super Bowl to now, you have seen a complete reverse. Get back to that Ram tempo, that upbeat, sort of like, get everybody to the line quick, that sort of quick huddle. I think that's what the Rams got to get back to. And, you'll not just Puka thrive, but you'll see everybody else thrive.
And speaking of that, I mean, just little tidbits that I've seen clips online of OTA so far in these off-season practices. I see a lot of pistol, and it makes my football so happy. We talked about it last season. How do you keep Stafford feeling great in shotgun, but then not hamper the run game oriented, side of the offense? Just do everything out of pistol. You can do the exact same play. And obviously we saw, I think when we called that out, that's why I always make that joke of someone's listening to our pod, because it feels like every time we make a little suggestion, at least somebody in the Rams coaching staff organization realizes the two and they make that switch. So when we were hammering for pistol, they made that switch within a couple weeks and offense was rocking. So I see a lot of that continuing this, off season, hopefully leading into this 2024 campaign. And it makes me happy, gentlemen.
Yeah, Stafford's going to be the MVP in the NFC, no question about it. In my opinion, I think Stafford's going to end the year. I think he's going to have probably one of his best statistical seasons, not just amassing lots of yards, but I think with that running game, he's going to be more efficient. I think his completion percentage is going to touch like 65%. I think his touchdown INT ratio is going to be the best probably of his career if they get that running game going. Yeah. And I honestly think he's going to be the NFC MVP.
We saw what happened when Kupp was hurt at the end, a lot at the end there as well. Puka was great the whole year, but when DeMarcus got going, when he took over that number 3 role, it was, that's when they really started cooking, right? Yep. And it's a huge difference having 3 receivers you have to actually guard versus 2, or 2.5. And it's
2.5, yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a difference. So anyway, one other thing I just wanted to bring up is, obviously we're talking about Aubrey Pleasant not getting the defensive coordinator job, but Chris Shula getting it. And so what he said in that Behind the Grind, he said you get something to the effect of you get what you stress, or that's the things that they stress, he said, are breaking blocks, tackling, pursuit to the ball, and turnovers. So 4 pretty generic things, but it's interesting that they outline the 4 things that they want to focus on, right? So I feel like they do a pretty good job of 3 out of the 4. I feel like they're they do a good job of breaking blocks in general, right? Mm-hmm. It's something I noticed always with the Rams. Tackling, I think, is generally pretty good. There's one year when they couldn't tackle from the when they were playing 20 feet off the ball. Frustrating year, but pursuit to the ball, I think, is excellent, right? It's just but obviously turnovers are not so red hot, and hopefully that's something we can get. A guy like Kinchins brings it. Curl, that'll be to see those safeties bring some more of that will be nice.
Yeah,
so.
Well, them, and then remember Darius's crazy interception through his career.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was like toe tapping like a receiver all the time, man, snagging those in. And obviously Trey White being a former All-Pro. So hey, they're trying, and I appreciate that effort to get guys to be able to cause turnovers and all that. So I feel better. I feel better, Tom, Paul.
Yeah, and interesting also, you bring up Trey White in. They're talking about him being, what really struck them was his leadership and, his knowledge, his professionalism, and what he can bring to the young group of guys. So, it's almost like he was brought in, even if, he can't play because of injuries, right? I mean, let's just face it, guys. The guy has been injured every year for whatever. And so, but even if he can't play, maybe he can elevate 3 or 4 other cornerbacks we have that are mediocre at best, right?
No, it's true, yeah.
Darian Kendrick, Kobe Durant, Trey Tomlinson, some of these other guys, maybe he can work with them, and maybe they saw some similarities there, and who knows? So maybe it won't be him necessarily directly impacting the organization, but maybe he'll be impacting others who can make a difference. So that was, I think, one of my takeaways. So
no, that's important, man. I mean, he has a lot of pressure on him, man. Shula, he does. I mean, that's just the reality. So I think he's ready. I think he's ready, and we'll find out week 1, won't we?
Yeah, he said he wants to be a combination of Wade Phillips, who just wants let everybody do their thing and be themselves, and and put all the trust in the position group coordinators, and then versus Staley, who was the mad scientist trying to come up with new stuff all the time and drop in schemes and whatnot, and he so he wants to be somewhere in between.
Wade Phillips' comments about Shula are the ones to me that really stuck when it was first announced. My whole thing was like, no one's afraid of Shula. So when you make him your DC, you better make sure he knows how to implement the system. And I think that's really what they were counting on, that his familiarity with the system, right?
Yeah,
because it's not the name that's like Wade Phillips, right? Or then the name that Staley created for himself. But it was a nice way for them to sort of describe where he sort of fits in. He wants to be somewhere in the middle, because they are, in a way, polar opposites, right? In the way that they approached handling that role. But I think it's interesting too. One thing that I saw in the episode, they said that a little glimpse of 8-bar verse working out, right? And then they had the little preview clip.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't think people have a clue of how physical this kid is, man. 8-bar verse is going to have some people calling out his name early in the season, because that kid, even watching him work out, was a thing of beauty. You saw that? That was just awesome.
He's all power, man. That's his game. He's a bull rusher with moves. So I expect to see him and the other rookies in preseason, at least. Like Puka. Puka remember played that first game. He had like 4 catches, and they're like, okay, you can do it. Well, you'll never see a preseason game ever in your life. So I expect Verse, Fisk, Corum maybe. And again, McVay will pull them out. If they're balling out of control at practice, then they will not see any preseason action. But I expect them to get at least a series or 2. So we'll find out real fast about them.
Yeah, and that's why with the T White roll of the dice is just win-win. Yeah. So think about this. He can get hurt. Just don't have a season-ending injury. There's some guys that get hurt all the time. Just don't have a season-ending injury, because rolling, where T White's contract's the value's gonna be felt is playoff time. If he's healthy for the playoffs, that's where every dollar will pay off.
I mean, that's a keep. That's a keep to leave territory. Remember, he missed the majority of that 2018 regular season campaign, like the middle portion, and he was ready for the very tail end. And then playoff football, him and Marcus were playing A+ corner duo, and that led us to the Super Bowl appearance. And obviously, the offense wet the bed. But if that's what we can get 2018 a keep to leave from Trey White. Oh, that'd be a fantastic. That'd be so.
And if you want turnovers, have veterans back there in the backfield, right? And that's what the Rams did. You want turnovers, you got to get veterans in the backfield.
Yeah.
Let the young kids up front, let them go eat.
Yeah, that's how we'll do it.
Hola.
Hello, this call is being translated.
Abuela, listen to what my phone can do.
Abuela, escucha lo que mi teléfono puede hacer.
Wow. Ahora dime sobre tu novia nueva.
Wow, now tell me about this new girlfriend.
Huh?
Tú sabes lo que dije.
You know what I said.
Language is no longer a barrier thanks to Live Translate with Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Learn more at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. Calls must be made using the native Samsung dialer.
Salute big savings this Memorial Day with Blinds.com. Upgrading window coverings can be a minor project with a major impact, and Blinds.com makes it easy. Choose premium blinds, shutters, and outdoor shades, just in time for summer fun. Get unlimited window treatments installed for one low cost, all backed by Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com's Memorial Day sale now for up to 50% off, plus premium doorbusters. Save up to 50% at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Allstate wants to remind fans that mayhem is everywhere. Like when your fantasy league meets up at your house. Everything's great until the hot plate gets too hot for the tablecloth. Now your kitchen's up in smoke. And if you don't have the right home insurance coverage, the cost to fix this is anything but a fantasy. So switch to Allstate, save money, and get protected from mayhem like this. Not available in every state based on coverage selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
When it comes to fitness, what's real? How about when it really truly fits your life? That's how Anytime Fitness sees it. Because our coaches see you. It's how they build personal plans that work wherever you are and focus on everything that matters, from fitness to nutrition to recovery, all so you can push yourself further than ever or just through the next rep. It's total 360 support for a real difference. That's Anytime Fitness. That's Real AF. Visit AnytimeFitness.com.
Listen closely. As a master painter carefully brushes Benjamin Moore Regal Select down the seam of the wall. It's like poetry in motion. Benjamin Moore, see the love.
Well, let's dive into this first pass at a game-by-game prediction. And not going to hold us to it. We'll do you're going to hold us to it later in the season before the official season starts, once we've seen everything and have all the information at hand. But we're just going to fly through this real fast. So obviously we all know we're starting away at Detroit. And what are you guys' thoughts?
I'm calling W because
has to be a W.
Last season's ending, the sourness everyone in the Rams organization should feel. I mean, gosh, I'm still sour, and I'm not even on the field, and all the little jabs, Detroit media just losing their minds about Stafford and Goff. It's insane. Paid professionals just talking nonsense out there in Detroit, Michigan. It's crazy. Like Stafford never did anything for your franchise. Insane. I'm counting this as a W. We're getting that revenge game off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah, and it could get ugly too. The Rams, look what they did in Seattle. I mean, I know Seattle was, but they went up there and just, basically, honest to God, I believe right then that was when the organization thought Pete Carroll's, done. Like he just got so bad, and I don't know. It could be interesting. We'll have to see what happens. But I definitely
they got to do that. They got to do that for Higgs, man. They got to do it for Higgs. They shouldn't talk. They should put a complete gag order on the entire team that don't say a word, right? And just like keep it in the locker room and tell Higgs, dude, sit back. This one's for you, right? Yep. And just bring the thunder, man.
Yep. And then we are at Arizona for game 2.
I'm saying W on that one.
Domination in the desert, baby.
Yeah, until Arizona can prove that, obviously they had the 2021 campaign, they beat us at home, and we kind of just came out lackadaisical. I was there for that game. I don't think this team is as talented as that one was, right? That made the playoffs, that Arizona team. But until they can prove that they can beat us consistently, I'm not choosing them to beat us. Simple as that.
Next is a so-called home game against San Francisco, where they will once again have more fans there than the Rams fans. It's going to take time, but they just have a lot more fans and stuff right now in California, willing to travel and buy those tickets. So what are your thoughts on that game, Paul? Game 3.
Oh, you know how the Rams do in early games against San Francisco. Well, they were close this last season, so I don't know. I'm hoping that they pull it out. When they got to establish home field advantage. It's one of these seasons. The Rams got to establish home field advantage. SoFi, do or die. Come on. So
I'm saying dub here too, gentlemen. I think just based off how that first home game I was there for last season, where we went toe to toe, and I was, we lost, but I was feeling great about it because I just felt like the talent level was bigger than obviously what it ended up being as the season went on. I think the talent gap is closing based off our signings, based off the depth. So I think we finally get this crap done. Greenlaw is still Achilles, long Super Bowl hangover. Eventually one of these years, it's reality for most teams. So I expect that to be the case. And the Kyle Shanahan squads are going to be ready to go, but I think we get one here, get a 3-game win streak going off to kick off the season, which would be nice. So W, week 3.
Okay. W in game 3. And then we're off to Chicago. See Caleb and company.
Yeah.
Caleb in Rome.
Yeah, I think this game, gentlemen, is going to be one of those ones where we just are not, we're just not ready for. Because look, let's just be honest. There's going to be like 2 to 3 games where we're like, how did we lose that game? Whether it's McVay's play calling is whack, which happened a couple times this last season. Whether we're just not ready to go. Time change, weather, whatever it is. There's always 2 to 3 games that are like that every Rams season since McVay's been the coach. I think this game's going to be a surprise loss where. We're not ready for, Caleb being ready to go with DJ Moore, with Keenan Allen, with Roma Dunze. I don't know if we have the corner safety gelling yet to be able to handle that speed and overall talent this early on in the season. So I'm saying this is like hey, they're pretty for real loss. So I'm saying this is going to be one of those surprise losses to start the year against the Bears.
Gotcha.
I think McVay should set it up because the early bye that we're talking about. If there's one advantage to that early bye, is you set up the early part of the season as race to the bye, full speed ahead until we hit the bye. So I think I'm hopeful because we know that probably the last game of the season, right? Hopefully will be meaningless for the Rams. So we know we got one loss right there. When I was doing the schedule breakdown, I was trying to get to what the win total is going to be. So I'm hoping that the Rams do the race to the bye because. I agree with Ian. I don't think Arizona is going to be a trap game. The Chicago might be a trap game, but I'm hoping that the way they set up the season is that they're going to race to the bye, try to go undefeated into the bye.
That'd be great.
Full speed ahead, and then break it down, and see how. Because when you have an early bye like that, that's one thing to sort of put in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So then we go back home against Green Bay before the bye, and what do you think, Paul?
That's the game that I'm worried about.
Really?
Yeah, that's the game that I'm worried about. I think the Rams will be fine until that Green Bay game, and if there is going to be sort of a letdown, that'll be the game where there'll be a letdown, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree too, gentlemen. I mean, that's another game where we just can't beat the Packers in the regular season. For whatever it is, LaFleur, being our old offensive coordinator, just knows everything that Sean wants to do. We always have crappy offensive performances against the Packers. They have a new coordinator who won't be Joe Barry, right? A former Rams guy who the Green Bay Packers organization was kind of 50-50 on. Their fan base hated Barry, right? They thought he was terrible. So I expect them to have a new life energy on that side of the ball. Jordan Love is no slouch all of a sudden. He's an actual legit quarterback based on his playoff play, end of the season regular play. And I expect that to continue. So I think this will be one of those letdown games that I'm talking about. So I chalk that up as a loss as well, unfortunately. And then
this is a good barometer game for the Rams. Right? I think this is a good barometer game for the Rams too because of the physicality of the Green Bay running game.
Yeah.
So this is a good to see where the Rams. I mean, like I said, I really honestly think when you have an early bye like that, you got to set up where you want to go undefeated going into the bye. So the Rams go full tilt going into the bye. So if they can accomplish that, they're halfway home. But the potential, this would be the letdown game. I think. I hope it doesn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
But they'll play sloppy in this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have the bye, and then coming off the bye at home versus the Raiders. So we got to put that as a dub, right?
Yeah, I'm putting that as a W. I mean, look, unless it's one of those we're just not ready to play, which I don't think that'll be the case with after the bye, right? I don't think that'll be the case. Look at whether it's O'Connell. I like Gardner Minshew a ton, and maybe he's starting by then, or maybe he earns the job in training camp, and I think he can play quarterback. But, I just think our roster is just overall better than theirs at the moment. And I just think that's off the bye, get the damn W, and let's keep it rolling. That's how I feel.
Throw 1,000 pounds at interior line at Christian Wilkins. Welcome to the West, Christian.
Yeah.
And then we got home versus Minnesota, Paul.
Yeah, I love that game. I'm excited about that game. I mean, once again, it's just the Rams roster. The differential in roster right there, I think, is going to be the difference. Rams play their game. Yeah, to me. But look, if we stop right here, the schedule looks really favorable for the Rams. If they can, if they play up to their potential and they just just ramp it up and then let the sort of season just even out, that's why I really think that's the way the Rams have to approach the season. Build that momentum, take advantage early, and then just try to find that the middle ground of what their best football looks like, right, and just be consistent, I think they're going to have a great season.
And then you agree with the Minnesota pick, Ian?
Yeah, I think they win that game. I just think the quarterback play differential is what will be the difference, right? Obviously, Jefferson, Addison, Aaron Jones in the backfield, solid line. Who am I blanking on the tight end right now? I shouldn't be. Jeez Louise. Hawkinson, right? Maybe he gets game action by then, because I know he tore his knee and got that by the Lion safety, the same dude who took out Higbee, or one of those secondary players. So maybe he's ready to go at that point. You know, they had great weapons. They've upgraded on defense with Flores, who is giving us trouble. I expect that to be a shootout game, or just So I chalk that up as a W, and much needed on primetime at home. Let's get those primetime W's. They matter big time in this market.
Absolutely, Thursday night game. And then away, first trip up to Seattle, which I feel like Seattle, a lot of people say, oh, you better watch out for Seattle. I don't think so. I think
I feel that
a rough time, and I think we're going to be okay up there. Probably going to go to that game and like I do every year, see my cousin. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's a good. So like a W for you, Tom. I think this is another one of those weird games where McVay just has a crappy play calling day, and we just blow it against, a defense that is now 3-4 like us. It is no longer going to be 4-3 under Carroll's system that we just absolutely had figured out for a gazillion years. I just think that new energy. I just think it's one of those weird games that, whether it's McVay's play calling, when things just don't roll, the ball bounces one crappy way, fumbles. Some nonsense happens, and I think we dropped that game. Unfortunately, I think that week would be one of those letdown weeks.
Interesting, Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, the trend over the last couple, Rams have been a very streaky team, unfortunately, right? Last year really showed up. So, and when you look at the schedule, it's like you try to identify where those streaks possibly could sort of wind up, So this is, Seattle has been a place. Listen, Arizona and Seattle are talented teams. There's no question, but they're extremely young teams. The Rams have to take advantage. So when the Rams were successful in those 2 seasons, when they were really, really successful, they dominated the NFC West. That was like the theme coming out of camp. Win within, right? If you win within your division, you dominate within your division, your record's always going to be stellar. And this is an opportunity for the Rams to do that. Leaving San Francisco out of that just for a second, that's a chance to pick up 4 wins, right? From 2 young teams, taking nothing away from the talented squads who hate the Rams, right? And it's mutual, right? But there's a chance here to walk away with 4 wins from within your division. The Rams got to take advantage of that. But the Rams have been notoriously streaky, so Ian's spot on. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, the next game is Monday night at home at SoFi against the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
And what is that? Is that the current version of the trying to be the greatest show on turf?
They're trying, man.
Right? They're fast as can be, right? So, and it's, as we talked about in the past, the first home game at SoFi with fans. So it's a big deal. Like, I think this is good. If the Rams and Miami are both really, good, like they're projected to be, this could be a game that the Rams they could look past that Seattle team, Ian, and as another factor, right?
Yeah, I think that's possible.
So, yeah. But having said that, Paul, what are your thoughts on the on that Miami?
I love that game. When I saw that on the schedule, I love that game, man.
Yeah,
speed on speed. I really do. I hope they throw the ball a ton, both sides. I hope it's going to be an electric game. I'm hoping the Rams come out on top, but that's a great game. And you're absolutely right. And traveling up to Seattle could become an afterthought as they prep for this game, right? So yeah, I hope it doesn't. But yeah, this is an exciting game, and you're absolutely right. National TV, let both sides showcase their talent. I personally, man, I like Miami, but I like the Rams offense, man. I'm that way at home, with the fans behind them. The Rams throw up a ton.
What do you
Yeah,
think, Ian?
I think after the Seattle letdown in my predictions, there's like, okay, we can't. The first Monday Night Football game at SoFi Stadium with fans. There was obviously the Monday night game against, I want to say it was the Bears back in the 2020 campaign when there was no fans allowed yet. This is a big deal. This is a big deal, obviously based on McDaniels being under this, Mike Shanahan tree like McVay. Both want to score a ton of points. Old homies battling each other, right? No shocker that the Shanahan tree games are always in prime time, right? O'Connell Thursday, McDaniels there on Monday. We got Niners on Thursday night in the later down the schedule. So they want the old crew to beef on national television. So I think they're going to pull this off. It may be a nail biter. I expect a lot of points. Maybe Tua's playing well. Maybe Bradley Chubb and Phillips, the other edge rusher, are back from their big injuries at this time. A little over the halfway point, and it's going to be a crazy one. But I predict W on this big game.
Okay, W with Miami, and then off to New England on a short rest, across the country, early game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is another one of those games where we're like, what the hell happened? Go up to New England. There's some just nonsense. Like I said, whatever box you want to check, play calling. Stafford just has the turnover bug or something. A turnover bug with our team. Maybe defense is gassed from the Monday night game trying to cover OBJ, Waddle, and Tyreek and HN and all those guys. And I could see this being another letdown game where we're just like, what the hell happened up in New England? So I predict a weird loss in, what is that, week 11 in New England. But we are significantly better roster-wise. But again, there's always a few games every year where we're like, how the hell did the Rams lose that? I feel like this would be another one of those weird games where that happens, sadly.
Yeah, again, right before the Philly game, right? So,
yeah.
Paul, do you think we can really blow a game to what could be the worst team in the NFL?
Yeah, that's a stretch. New England, but Ian's right. You always got to calculate three clunkers, right?
There always is.
Ian is spot on. If you do it, the Rams generally have three clunkers for every season where you scratch your head. You're like, what happened here? Yeah. But I think, but the Rams do. The Rams have done well on short rest. One thing that's really been surprising is that the Rams have done well in short rest. From my observation as the seasons have progressed. But yeah, I think they'll do okay against New England. It's going to be hard to lose in New England.
No, I get it.
Let's hope they don't find that, like Ian said, let's hope they don't find that avenue there of, how to blow that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then we're back home against the Eagles on Sunday Night Football.
That's a great game.
That's a great game too. I mean, I think, and look at Joe, you might not be happy with it. I think this is a loss. I mean, we can't beat the Eagles for whatever reason. We just can't do it unless it's like, end of Carson Wentz era Eagles, right, in that 2020 campaign where we lit them up pretty good in Philly with no fans, unfortunately. But we just can't beat them for whatever reason, whether it's Coach Peterson, now it's Sirianni and their crew. Like, they just know how to play us. They knew how to, make Aaron Donald as ineffective as possible. I think Aaron Donald always had his worst games against Philly. Shocker when you have a top 5 O-line every year. That's the type of unit you need to neutralize a monster like Aaron Donald. No Donald, their O-line is still really fantastic, even without Kelsey. The guard and tackles are still phenomenal, all pro-level guys. And then I don't expect their defense to be as shitty, just to be honest, as they ended up being under a Patricia-led defense. Shocker. So I think this is one of those games. I hope I'm wrong, like all these losses. But I think this game is a loss just based off the history and based off how I feel they'll probably be better than they were that last year and previous years we faced them, unfortunately.
Interesting. Paul, you're thinking it could be a loss also?
Yeah, I agree with Ian, man. This is a possibility of a letdown game. More, not so much Philly being, that much better as the Rams coming back from New England, looking at their record and maybe just like, this is that clunker game that Ian's talking about, right? They're just not, they're just not all in on it. The big hurt is still there. I mean, he's still a great player. these quarterback matchups for the Rams this season, man, they're just awesome, man. Even if you're not a Ram fan, watching these games, we watch Optimus 9 and, Jay Hurts out there, man. It's just, man, it's going to be exciting. But this I agree with you. And this could be a big clunker game, right?
That's rough.
But also a good litmus test for the Rams because they're a physical team. All these physical teams, we really want to see how the Rams stand up to that because they're a young squad on defense to some degree, and offense. We want to see them, and really, does McVay utilize the physical components of his offense?
Yeah.
Right. Do they wind up being a finesse team again, or do they wind up fully utilizing everything that's at their disposal? So that's what these games are really going to reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Then we are off to New Orleans. So what do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I think this would be a get-right game, right? I mean, look, New Orleans is a tough environment. The last time we felt good about winning, obviously that's Stafford's last game of the 2022 campaign when he hurt the spine, and it was just everything just went off a cliff from that game forward. Allen Robinson broke his ankle. Yeah, it was just everything just went to hell. So look, at this game I don't think will be easy, just like when we played them this last season on Thursday night. They have tons of talent. Obviously, everything is dependent on the quarterback play, whether it's consistent Carr, bad Carr, maybe it's Spencer Rattler time at that point. Who knows? But I think that's a game that they do win in New Orleans. Get a good feel of like, hey, this is where our season could really end in February, right? That's where the Super Bowl is being hosted. So I think that little kind of Super Bowl mystique of the game being there, at the end of the season. Plus, hey, in my predictions, they lost a couple in a row. We need to win this game to keep the season going on a positive note. So I think this is a W.
Yeah, same, Paul.
Yeah, I think this is the type of game where the Rams do play their best when they go into a stadium where everybody hates them. So I think the New Orleans fans have basically been very consistent. They're still pissed off about the non-call, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I get it.
We chuckle about it, but yeah, that was a bad one. But
hold on, to our credit, before we move on, there was a lot of BS that was happening before that. No,
exactly.
Yeah.
Jared Goff had a chance.
When we kicked the field goal, we should have had that whole drive extended by Jared Goff getting his face mask yanked, or we should have had first and goal. We probably punched that thing in, and this isn't even a question of Nickel Roby doing the early hit. Right, Brandon Cooks got face masked as well earlier in that fourth quarter. So there was a lot of stuff that the refs were ignoring. So let's just everyone calm down, Saints fans. If you're tuning in here, we get it, but let's not act like other BS wasn't happening. All right, that's all I gotta say in defense of us.
But we know but we know New Orleans fans are not going to let that go. So
no, they're
that environment. Honestly, I'm telling you, they even said it in the grind episode. They said that's when. Oh, it wasn't the grind episode. It was the Stafford locked in. Yeah. For Ram Nation, if you haven't watched it, you have to watch that. They all said Staff's at his best when things are just going crazy around him. That's when Optimus 9 is at his best. So when everybody's booing and hissing, that's when Optimus 9 is going to light it up. So I think he has a big game against New Orleans.
I hope so.
We come home against Buffalo, right? So
I love it.
Yeah, Bills lost a lot of veteran leadership this year, obviously including Trey White. They come back. The Rams got embarrassed by them on the opening night of that crappy year after the Super Bowl. And so, what do you guys think, Ian? Buffalo?
Yeah, I just think this is another one of those weird games where you're just like, gosh dang it, we were better than them, but Josh Allen just puts on the Superman cape and has some game-winning touchdown, outruns our defense and gets an important first down for a game-winning field. Some nonsense like that these superhero quarterbacks, right? These top 10 quarterbacks seem to pull off every now and then. I think we get the unfortunate side of that scenario, and I think this may end up being a loss. Sadly.
Interesting. Yeah, I think they're going to bounce back. Have with that as a memory and kind of put their foot back in the ground. But Paul, with thoughts on that Buffalo game?
I think Buffalo's going to be a really physical team this year on offense. If you look at the players they have, they drafted my boy Ray Davis. So I think they're going to be a physical squad on offense. I think they have a lot of holes to fill still.
Yeah.
They're not as, when they were peaking about a season ago. So it'll be interesting. This is a tough game once again, it's a tough game for the Rams. The physical teams are really going to be the barometer for the Rams this season. Josh Allen, against Stafford once again, the young alpha, versus, hey, I'm still relevant. Who, a lot of people, and I would be one of them. I think Stafford's still the alpha, but we'll see how it goes. Two different type of quarterbacks, really. So
I think,
we'll see how it goes.
Les Need might put the Brandon Bean quote up on the bulletin board.
I hope so.
Les is gonna walk right in there and post
put it right on the board,
right in the middle of the board. Yeah, blow it up.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
But anytime you get to see Josh Allen, it's a pleasure, man. That kid is a beast.
Then we got
he's crazy.
2 tough road games before 2 home games against in division. So off to San Francisco.
Ian?
Yeah,
I'll go first. Sorry. So I had them winning in week 3. I think we split with San Fran. I think short week. I think we just, they get us in their home place, unfortunately. And that's pretty much it, right? It'll be a battle, right? Who knows where San Fran season will be because, they're recovering from the Super Bowl hangover of a loss, injuries, all that, yada, yada, yada. I have no idea, but they're going to play us like it's their Super Bowl. It feels like they really want to beat us. Shanahan-led teams always want to beat up on McVay teams. That's just how it is. So I have them splitting. We beat them week 3. I think they take care of business in their own house, unfortunately.
Paul?
That's I have the same analysis that Ian has. I think when you look at the way I have the records breaking down, San Fran will have a must-win this week, where the Rams will have a little bit of room for a larger margin of error, and I think San Fran will come out on top. We always split with them, so it's not a hard prediction.
Gotcha. And then after that, another tough road trip to the Jets. Probably some weather there around Christmas, so we'll have to see. But at New York Jets, Paul, I'll let you go first as the resident New Yorker.
Listen, the Beast Coast, it gets a little nippy around that time, but I don't think it'll make a difference. I think once again, the talent differential, no disrespect to the Jets, but I think the Rams come play some bad weather and go home for the holidays with a win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Jets are one of those. I hope they are a fun team. I think when there's teams that have been crappy a majority of my life, right? I'm under 30 years old, everybody. So, there's you can picture all the teams that have just been crappy, since I've been alive. Jets have been one of those teams. They've had their moments. Sanchez era was fun. There's, that one year with Fitzpatrick was kind of fun to watch, right? Throwing to Marshall and Decker, I want to say. And there's been some moments. Vinny Testaverde, la 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 la. But majority, they're not a well-run franchise. They're cursed for whatever reason. And hopefully Rodgers is playing so we can see a Rodgers-Stafford matchup. That'd be fun. 2 of the oldest starting quarterbacks in the league still slinging it. But I think Rams take care of business. Jets are going to jet, as people would say. And I think we get that W late in the season to feel good, in a cold weather East Coast game, which I anticipated being at that time of year.
Yeah, no doubt. And then home against the Cardinals and the Seahawks, Paul. We're in the 2 games against teams we theoretically on paper we should beat.
Playing at home too, man. Playing at home too.
Those 2 games. I mean, so what are your thoughts? Cardinals, Seahawks.
I mean, like I said, take care of business within the division. Depending on what that last game, right? Depending on what the Rams' record is, it could be that one game we said that could be just a throwaway game because the Rams have pretty much nothing to play for. But we'll see. But if let's just say everything is relevant. There you go, a chance to walk away with another 2 wins back to back. Also, really sharpen steel. That's the way you do it, man. Also, maybe if you're resting some players, get some hungry guys in there, let them get some playing time.
Yeah, that'd be too. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
so
it would be nice.
You got two dubs there with Arizona and Seattle.
Yeah, so in my scenario, I have 7 losses so far. So these games, Jets and beyond are like we have to win these games. Again, I'm not picking Cardinals to beat us until they can prove otherwise. So I'm picking that to be a win in late December, and then that post New Year's game with Seattle last home game. That's the game to get the 10 wins in my scenario. I had them losing in that middle of the year week 9 game up in Seattle. I think we handle business at home to get into the tournament, right? An important game that needs to happen. I say W on that last game of the year as well. So I got 10 wins, 7 losses based off this scenario we just did in my predictions.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I said I did best case scenario, I came out 12-5.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I came out 10-7. Then I split the difference, and that's how I came to 11-6.
11.
So
11, yeah.
that's where I'm leaving it as at 11-6 with that one throwaway game in there, wherever it's either at the latter part of the season or wherever it may be.
And for everyone out there, real quick, look it. I know I say 10-7 because I'm obviously throwing in the games that I think there's going to be like, what the hell happened games, which every year there's 3 of them.
The 3 clunkers.
This team has the capability to win 13 plus games. Let's not get it twisted here. This team, talent-wise, injuries aside, coaching blunders aside, a ball rolls badly, one way or another aside, pure talent, pure coaching in an objective, bubble. This team has the capability to go 13 plus wins, no doubt about it. But will that happen? That's not how pro football works. A lot of nonsense happens week to week. So which is why I taper it down to this 10 wins. And I think based off the opponents we played, the level of competition, I think that if 10 wins, double-digit wins in general, I think I would be happy with that outcome. So that's why I got here to 10-7. Just wanted to share that real quick.
And like Ian says, gentlemen, let's keep it a buck, right? The Rams for 2 seasons have not been able to get their act together. So, I saw some of the posts. So before we start anointing them, walk away champs, they got to get their act together. They haven't been able to do it for 2 seasons. So, we got to put that margin of error in there, right? So, I mean, obviously as Ram fans, Ram Nation, we are hoping that does come to fruition, but listen, they got to prove it. They got to get it done. That's it.
Yeah. The betting markets have them at 8 to 9 wins, a 500 team essentially, right there in the middle of the pack with everybody. And but it's interesting that the way I look at schedules, I mean, just on paper before the schedule comes out and so forth, is just, in terms of just the teams that we're facing, not taking into consideration rest differentials and who you're playing before and, or playing next and looking ahead and all the psychological stuff, right? I just look at on paper, which teams should you absolutely 100% beat, right? Let's take those teams. There's 9 of them. We'll call Arizona, Seattle, right? On paper, those should be wins, right? Chicago should be a win. Las Vegas should be a win. Minnesota should be a win. New England should be a win. And New Orleans should be a win. There are 9 games that unequivocally the Rams will be, if they're, again, things happen, injuries and whatnot. But those teams preseason, looking at it, better organizations at this point, better rosters, better everything, right? 9 wins. And then there's the other 8 games are games that are, I would say toss up, but they're competitive games. You got both San Francisco games at Detroit, Green Bay, Miami, Buffalo, at the Jets, and Philadelphia, right? So you got 9 games that should be wins and 8 games that are up in the air, we'll say. So, Ian, based upon your, what you just kind of threw out here, you went 6-3 in the games that we should win. So lost 3 of those games, right? So Chicago, Seattle, and New England. And then the other games we went 6-3. The other games you went 4-4. So you're basically like, okay, we're going to go 6-3 in the games that we should win, 2 out of 3. And then we're going to break even on the games that are really super competitive games against really good teams that are in the, literally in the playoff hunt. Either we're in the playoffs last year or, like the Jets, could be in the playoffs. So with the healthy Aaron Rodgers. So that's the way this breaks down. And I don't think it's a bad breakdown. I feel like with those 9 games, man.
I agree though, Tom. I agree with you. Though, like those can't be losses. They should not be.
They should not be losses, right? And I really do feel like the teams that really come out on top in this league are teams that take care of business against the teams that they should win. They should beat. New England always did that. They always took care of business against the teams they should beat, right? And that's why they have the record they do in their division. And so, right. And so And then they were, against teams that they're, super competitive, playoff caliber, Super Bowl aspirational teams. They can go 500 with, and then they put it together in the playoffs. So I just feel like that's how we really need to approach this. And some of those early games against some of those teams that we should beat are going to be pretty telling. I really do think so. And I don't think the Detroit game or the San Francisco game or the Green Bay game before the bye are going to be that telling, right? Unless we get blown out, right?
Yeah.
If they're competitive games, great. But the Arizona game and the Chicago game, I think, are going to be very, very telling. And those are games that we have to win. And then we go from there. Las Vegas and the Vikings after we're out, and Seattle after the bye, again, very telling. And then who knows about Miami and the Eagles and the Bills and San Francisco. There's a lot of, so that's how I take it. That's how I look at things. We'll see.
I think just an extension of that also is in the modern day NFL with a 17-game season, the first 6 games of any season are super critical because before the injuries start to mount, which is just a reality in the NFL, you have to sort of get off to a hot start. If you're a slow starting team, the odds are stacked against you. So in the modern day NFL of a 17-game season, you really got to get off to a positive start before the injuries start to mount, right? And that's why I'm saying like this early bye may help the Rams in their mindset in the sense of like we have a shot here to walk into that bye and be like, have a little bit of a buffer, right? And have everybody else play catch up within the NFC West. And I think that really is the way they need to approach it. Because if they do that, listen, there's no way to predict injuries. Look what happened in our post Super Bowl season, right? That was just horrendous what happened. But that's why you really have to use the early part of the season while your team is like at max health to really get everybody hitting on all cylinders. Come out of camp with the proper mindset, be ready to go. And like Ian said, McVay, get your mind right. That's not the time to start experimenting with triple reverses. Right. Keep it basic, keep it simple, get your team, playing efficient football and, win with what you got because you got plenty of firepower. So, yeah, the early part of the season will be, I think, the calling card for the Rams for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I really do think they're like, I agree, Paul. I think this you were talking about if there were 2 buys, split it up into 3 segments, right? Well, I think the Rams can almost split this season up into almost 3 segments. So you got the pre-bye, right? We got 5 games. Let's get to the bye healthy, 4-1, whatever we want, something like that. Get our bye. We're at home against the Raiders and the Vikings, and then okay, great. And then the next phase is okay. We got this. This is where the stretch happens. 7 games or whatever it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. Wait. Is that right? 1, 2. Wait, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So we got Las Vegas, Minnesota, and Seattle after the bye, right? 3 games that are definitely on this. We should win these games. And then the last part of this is this Miami on Monday night, which we talked about, at New England on a short week, home against Buffalo, at San Francisco, and at New York. At New Orleans in there. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy, right? There's 8 games in there. That's the gauntlet for these guys. And that's, they got to go into that 8-game stretch. And then you get the 2 games, to kind of prepare for the playoffs, hopefully with Arizona and Seattle, assuming that those games are games we should win. So I agree with you, Paul. Got to get off to a good start before the bye and then come out of the bye strong, win those 3 games that are definitely winnable. And then we go into 8 games that are just brutal. And then 2 more to get ready. So that's how I'm breaking it down. But good stuff, you guys. Good stuff. We're going to end it here. And thanks a lot. We'll be back next week, everybody, with another roundtable. Mark will be back from vacation and dive into that behind the grind episode that goes into the draft house and come out with some more news and notes from OTAs and from the team. So Thanks again, guys.
Heck
All
yeah.
right, double
It was
barrel
good.
ram horns.
Yep, it's good talking through it. And again, everybody, I hope I'm wrong. I hope 12, 13 games, 14 games. Obviously, that'd be fantastic. 10-7, my realistic, trying to be objective take. I thought Tom and Paul did a fantastic job as well. So don't kill me because I say 10-7, all right?
We have a chance to change it. We're gonna put everybody on the record later in the season again once we have all the information after training camp and we're ready to get into the preseason and so forth. We'll have a
regular season records are for runner-ups. Just be undefeated in the playoffs.
That's all that matters. That's it. So, all right, guys, take care.
Peace.
Optimus 9, baby.